with the keynote address. Yeah. This is a very standard procedure to have keynote address and then main speakers. Actually, I look forward to our main speakers because now I'm running out of ideas. So I need to get some new ideas. Right? The only thing I can tell you is you start learning and become real students when you finish your formal education. So it's better that you finish your formal education as early as possible. Unfortunately, I took a little longer than most of the students do, but that also is contributed to my experiments in learning. And the only thing I learned all my life was that only if you can retain your capacity to learn and know that you never can become a learned person, that is the best way to live your life. The moment you think you have become learned and now I have nothing more to learn, but only I can teach, that is the end of our life. Yeah. From that moment onwards, the destiny takes over and leads you to death. Yeah. So if you have to understand the concept of life and death, I can assure you one thing, as long as you think there is so much more to learn, that the death has to be postponed. Right? Otherwise, death sets in much earlier in life. If you know. And now, what is happening today, what I believe, that in our regular school, which doesn't include Orchid school, because that's not a regular school, that's an irregular school. Yeah, right. The regular school, the entire emphasis is on what we call in technical language cognitive development. What is cognitive development? Is what you think, thinking, yeah? Logic, reason, whatever you do is all cognitive process. And that has to do with the part of brain. I'm sure you have been taught a little bit about brain, some of you. At least you are taught that we have brain. Okay. And where is it situated? Where brain is situated? For some people it's in the knees. Doesn't matter. But for most of the people, it is here, under my cap. Right. Okay. Now this place is supposed to contain brain. Now in brain also, it's not so simple. There is a new brain and there is an old brain. Right. And the old brain takes the functions of routine, like you breathe in and breathe out, your blood pressure. See, all the automatic functions, right, are generally in the lower brain. It's called midbrain or spinal cord sometimes. Have you heard of a reflex? I'll tell you if you haven't heard of. But you know the word reflex. Everybody knows the word reflex? Yes. My God, too much. Yeah. So I'll tell you what reflex is. Yeah. Now you take your hand to a burning candle unknowingly. Right? Then what happens is, this is what happens. This is called as reflex action. Yeah. Why reflex action? Where thinking is not involved. Because there is no time to think. But by the time you think and take decision, your hand will burn totally, and it will have to be amputated, right? So there is a provision for learning automatically also, which is behind. But then the higher forms come from this big portion of brain. The large portion is called cerebrum, which contains centers for thinking and speaking and everything. Now all the curricular subjects, all the debates you have and everything has to do with the development of thinking. There is a good regular exercise in school, you know that. You have debates in your school? Do you have debates in your school? Good. Now, generally in debate what happens is, there are two tables like this, yeah? One on that side, one on this side. Now this man is supposed to speak. for the topic. Yeah. Are there innovations in education or there are no innovations in education? So they will speak, there are innovations in the education. The other party is supposed to, there are no innovations or anything. Is it good to get married or stay single? Then there will be a panel who would say it is better to get married. Then there would be other panel who say, no, it's better to stay single. In the end, what happens, those who listen are either confused because they don't know whether to believe them or to believe them, because both are very intelligent. And what they are doing is they are doing exercise of intelligence. And what is that exercise of intelligence? That if you have to speak on behalf of married people, you must find those reasons which support that thinking. But if you want to speak against, then you must find those reasons which are against. And these are called intellectual exercises, which we are doing in school all the time. So that is why you know the words also. Curricular subjects, yeah? Extracurricular activities. There are no extracurricular subjects. There are extracurricular activities. There are no curricular activities. Curricular are subjects. 4 languages, mathematics, 3 mathematics, algebra, geometry, arithmetic. Now I believe there is 4th one, no? I don't know. I was a poor student, Then geography, history, civil science, too many subjects. There are so many subjects when you are young. By the time you finish education, you don't even have one subject. You have part of one subject. So the education spans from too many subjects to just one subject. And why it is that? Because the whole idea of taking education for so long is that you are rich in your process of learning, to find out what best you can do with what you have. And what is art? Art is exactly the same. How to do best with what you have, and not to demand that if I had this, then I would have done best. The problem here I was coming to, this intellectual development in school has to be compensated by extracurricular activities. And what is the main difference? As I told you now, all these debates, now there are exercises. I'm sure. Do you have to write essays in your school? Yeah. Yes? They don't like. You don't like essay? Okay, good. Then there is no competition for me. I'm very glad. But essays, what do you do basically? You are given one proverb. Okay? उंटावर बसून शेळ्या हाकू नका. You are given one sentence, yeah? You are given the need is the mother of invention. Yeah? And then you are supposed to write 5 pages, 10 pages, expand on that. That is called essay writing. Yeah? Or if you go to speak, participate in elocution, right? There are 2 types. Ready subject means you have to prepare a subject and talk. And there is another one which is called extempore speech. Yeah? Do you go for the elocution competition sometimes? No. Only in the house. You are very eloquent in the house. So, all right. So extempore subject means you are given the subject 2 minutes or 5 minutes before you are supposed to speak. Like Madam Lakshmi Kumar has given me today. She said that you have to give keynote address. I said, my God, first of all I have to look the dictionary, what is keynote address? Right? So I have to start from that. Then I have to say, okay, then I will invent what is keynote address. So, but you have to go through the exercises in school. There is also an exercise in school called comprehension exercise, right? Where you are supposed to read 5 pages and then write in one paragraph what you have read. Right? Now I'll tell you what. You generally see a film. I'm sure all of you see films. Yeah? The film is generally about 2 hours, right? But then you also see the trailer of a film. Trailer is only what, 2 minutes. What is trailer? It's a comprehensive exercise. And what is a film? It's an essay. Yeah? There is a film called, which is that film? I forget, huh? Amir Khan's famous film. Oh, that's the famous film. Tare Zameen Par. Or Three Idiots. Both are famous. Okay. So actually, Three Idiots is a film, it's an essay on education. Isn't it? So actually, one day what we should do is, in a good conclave like this, screen film Idiot. Yeah, which everybody knows. And then analyze it segment by segment. What is the message or what they really want to mean about education? So there is a formal part of education which has to do with your brain, which is called thinking brain, right? There is other part of education which has to do with your reflexes. Right? Now how the thinking part becomes the reflex part is very important. And this is called, so this is a cognitive intelligence, and then there is something called as a sensory intelligence. Yeah. Now I'll tell you what is sensory intelligence. Do you have classes in cooking in your school? I think we should introduce cooking in school. Yeah. That is the surest way of finding means for survival. Yeah. Right. History, geography are not. Yeah, right. But cooking, yes, I can assure you one thing. Anybody who is extremely good at cooking will never die hungry. Because he can cook. And he is innovative on top of that, then he can cook from anything and eat. And so not only he cooks and he lives alive, but 10 others would even offer him a place to live, खाना देंगे, तुम यहीं रहो, जाओ मत कहाँ, पर हमारे लिए खाना बनाओ. So surest way of looking for a job is to learn cooking. And I am very bad. So I have to dependent on all these lovely ladies to feed me. And then I can't fight with them, because if they are unhappy with me, they won't feed me.